Hello. Thank you for stopping by the Masters of Beer Reviews channel, YouTube. I'm Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts Beer Reviews, probably getting called literally by one and only John H. Pierre from Mobile, Alabama, because technology is allowing him to join. Hello, sir. Yes, you are live. We have John and Nelly.
I'm doing it.
Yes.
Hey, I'm doing it on my phone tonight. I'm on my phone, so my computer is doing something. I'm doing some uploading some system things, so Hey, what's going on?
All right. And next to Jean H. Pierre from Mobile, Alabama, is John from the great state of Georgia. Hello, John and John. And we
Hello,
have
everybody.
good buddy James joining us from the state of New York, New Jersey.
Almost northeast of New Jersey, Bergen County. Almost.
There we go.
All right, Jersey in the house. Yeah.
Thanks for joining again.
I had to get this shillelagh because this stuff happening. I'm a little frazzled.
As always, Jay Terry, Louisiana Beer Reviews. Watching beer reviews ever. So today is Wild Card Wednesdays. Bring up beer and we talk about it. I don't know if Jean H. Pierre is using a adult toy over there or something.
Say that again.
Anyways, his phone is making some vibration noises, but we will move on from that.
Hold on.
Interruption. Again, today is Wild Card Wednesday.
I might be going on. I might be on my computer soon.
And we'll talk about it. So let's start with Jean H. Pierre. If you have a beer, which one is that?
Hold on, let me get some light, guys. So I'm kind of in the dark. But
John Anilli. What beer have you brought, John Anilli?
I've got just good old Samuel Adams Boston Lager.
Excellent. All right. James.
All right.
What are you bringing, James?
7 Lucky Bells. God knows we need it. I brought, if I can get it out of the cooler, I brought a rather unique delight. I brought Zwick Porters from Poland.
Ah.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Zawicki or Zwick or whatever the hell. Oh man, why do these people call me now when I'm busy? All right, hold on. Let me get my dollar store glasses up. Yeah, Zwick Porter. What does it say? Alcohol 9.5% by volume, 9 ounces. It is. Oh, here's my glass. The only word I can say about Zwick Porter is it is extreme, at least in my.
You get that. You get beer nice and right. Act 2 for the description. Jake Terry, what do you today?
It's pronounced Zwick Porter.
Zwick.
Zwick.
Scratch myself. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Zwick.
An imperial porter, and it's a Baltic porter, I believe. That means it's a lager, but it's very strong. 9% will knock you for a loop. I've had it. I bought it in New Jersey, believe it or not, on Highway 1.
Oh, you didn't know me then.
Dynamite. Yeah, we can't get that down here. I have, and then there's William. Boy, I was glad to see his name pop up. Now I have the Lager of the Lakes, thanks to David Garlapede. There's a lot of glare. Well, anyway, it apparently is only sold in cans now. It was in bottles, but it's in cans and in draft. It's from Michigan. It's 5% alcohol. It's a lager. It has a kind of a strange yeast flavor though. But there it is, from Bell's.
All right, we gotta go. There you go. We gotta go to our correspondent that just joined us live in the Carolinas through a storm and everything. Maybe. William Kepley, hello. Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Which random wild card beer did you bring? It's anything goes Wild Card Wednesday today.
Optimum word here is wild.
This
is a beer here that's been much maligned recently in some of these circles. I found a pack on closeout, and I thought I would try it. I had tried the pineapple, but I had not tried this one.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
This is
no.
the Two Hats Revenge tonight. The sheriff is back in town.
Not great.
Oh, that's great.
And
All
also,
right.
Good.
later on, I have a second part,
Good.
a special. I'll just say for now, I'll call it my Harry Nilsson surprise.
Jekyll and Hyde?
No, Harry Nilsson surprise will be coming up later.
All right.
I got a drink.
Okay.
Oh, man.
This big old beer I bring
Okay.
is a pint, 6 fluid ounces from the Switchback Brewing Company in Burlington, Vermont. This is their Switchback Ale, which is fairly popular and easy to find here in Massachusetts and most points of New England. This is I can find out on the website the ABV, but it is a amber ale, and it's 100%
It looks strong.
naturally conditioned beer. And I don't know. I'm gonna open the bottle. Obviously, I don't know if you can tell. Probably not, but it is very cloudy and hazy inside of that bottle. So
it looks strong.
$3 and change for the bottle, and I've seen it before numerous times and thought, well, today's been kind of a crappy day work-wise, so let's get a big beer.
Excellent.
All right, so is Jean-Pierre with us? You're on mute, but try to explain to us what beer you may have this evening.
Can you hear me now?
All right.
Oh, he's on mute.
Oh,
John,
we can't.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
you're off mute, but we can't hear a goddamn thing you're saying, so we're gonna move away from John until he figures out the phone situation. All right.
When your day become more or less stressful at this point?
If you want to go off of mute there, John and Nilly, and start talking about some Boston Lager, what are your thoughts going into drinking some Boston Lager, and want to give us some review tasting notes?
All right. Well, I've had the Boston Lager before.
Can't hear you, John.
I hear it.
Hello, can you
Uh,
can you hear
He
me?
said he had the Boston Lager before.
I said John and not
yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jean. We can't hear it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this I bought a 12-pack variety pack of the Samuel Adams summer beers, and so far I've been pretty disappointed. So I wanted to bring the Boston Lager because I know this one's going to be good.
I watched those videos.
Yeah, I don't know. It was on sale. I got the 12-pack for $9.99, but normally it's a $17.99 12-pack. It's not. If you have to pay full price for that variety pack, it's not worth it because that's a bunch of dull beer right there. You'd be better off drinking Bud Light.
Samuel Adams does have a lot of dull stuff. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
But no, yeah, you're absolutely right. So anyway, it's what, 5% alcohol. It's been a few years since I've had it. So gave it a pour. It's a nice copper color, or amber maybe, somewhere in between copper and amber. It's got some nice bubbles going up the glass. Smells really good. You're getting some nice barley malt breadiness. You're getting nice caramel sweetness, and you're picking up hops that they're using in this. Samuel Adams uses whatever the hop varieties that they use for the Boston Lager. Seems like they use the same hops for a lot of their beers. It has a very a lot of the Samuel Adams beers have a very similar aroma, hop aroma. It smells really good, and it was a long day at work for me too. This is my first beer, so cheers, guys.
Yeah, I'm ready to sip with you. Cheers.
All right, so this one's definitely not a disappointment. You're getting nice breadiness with this one. A little bit of that toasted or that roasted barley malt is coming through. You're picking up on the hops with this, but it's not at 30 IBUs. It's not really too hoppy. I mean, it's there to balance it out, to balance out the sweetness from the roasted barley malt and that caramel sweetness that you're getting. It kind of balances out in the back and the finish with this one. The body is light to medium. The carbonation is medium. It's super crisp and refreshing, and those are my initial thoughts. I mean, it's definitely a great beer. I mean, it's their namesake beer for a reason. It's been around for a while. They know what they're doing with this one, and it is not a dull beer like the other ones that I had the other day. So good stuff.
Cool. Well,
Hey guys, can you hear me now? Is that better?
yeah, let's see if we can go back to Mobile, Alabama, and our correspondent, John H.
Yeah.
John.
Sorry, just having some issues here. My phone is, whatever. Anyway,
I got
the little brother.
Yeah, I got the control room app up so I can make sure that volume and people are getting good signal out there to the people watching with audio. So yes, John.
Yes.
Beer do you have this evening?
I am drinking the little brother of the Yuengling traditional lager, and that is Yuengling Light tonight. I am just enjoying that. As of course you know, it's been very, very humid down here. Jay, you know that too.
Yeah.
And this is going well with some wings I had bought last night. Buffalo Wild Wings have a Tuesday special, so I bought some wings and having that with this beer, a very easy drinking light lager, perfect as we're winding down the final days of summer.
Ooh. So what's your experience? What's your experience and or any history with the Yuengling Light?
No, nothing really. I think it's a very easy drinking light lager, but the only issue is that I rather have Milwaukee's Best Light or maybe Busch Light or, over this, maybe because of the cost reasons, I guess. But I think it's a pretty good light lager for me, and it has some of the same complexities as a traditional lager. Just the fact that just the calories are lower and the ABV is lower. Outside of that, it's a very good, drinking beer for this time of year right now. Any time of year, but more so this time of year.
Sure. Okay. Excellent.
Please, folks. I mean, the heat.
Don't forget about Miller High Life Light.
Yes, the heat index, Jay. You know this. It's been over 100 these past couple of days, man. It don't feel like September down here.
Definitely does finally up here in New England.
Yeah. It was 93, 94 degrees today.
Damn. All right. Well, shit. Cool.
Yesterday it was 97. All right.
We got Craig Swenson. Yo, what's up in the chat? He's never seen Yuengling beers in New Hampshire.
No, that's
I'm in Massachusetts here, southeast.
Really? It's not in New Hampshire? Wow.
I don't know if I believe that, but maybe in your neck of the woods, Craig, that makes total sense. I don't know. But in my southeastern area of New England, yeah, it's everywhere. But I want to hear Jay pronounce James beer before we go to James once more.
Okay, well, when it was owned by Germany, it was Zabusch, but the Polish pronunciation is Zawiecz.
All right, you got that, James? All right.
Zawiecz.
We want to hear a little review of that beer. And is this your first time ever having the beer?
Me or Jay? Me, right?
You, James.
Okay, I got being that it was Wild Card Wednesday. I figured I'll put the Joker's Wild hat on.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Now, Zawiecz. I got an itch. Okay. 9.5% alcohol by volume. Definitely a very full-bodied, aromatic, full-flavored, malted taste. High on the bitterness. Horrendous hops. I guess if you want to call it. It definitely. I had it before because the next town over is a large Polish community, and yes, I kicked myself in the ass for not getting some really dark smoke kielbasa. Jay Terrio, I should have bought a pound or 5. I usually get 5 pounds, but I should have got some. Anyway, definitely would recommend it to those that can get it. It's not something you want to drink and drive with. It is. It'll kick your ass. I would say one of my all-time most impressive alcoholic beverages.
All right.
And it's like it's stronger than a Yingling Porter and any stouts I've ever had, including Guinness. And excuse me, I will. By the way, I'm going to look for that Yingling Light. I'm so used to the Yingling Lager and the Lord Chesterfield Ale.
I do like that Lord Chesterfield. That's pretty good.
Lord Chesterfield, and well, the Fezziwig is not bad either, by Sam Adams.
Yeah.
Old Fezziwig. But anyway, I digress.
Good content. I like it.
All right.
Rando ding.
Yes, I definitely give bells for the what the hell is it again? Is it I got an itch? Zavitch?
ZVH.
DVH.
Bitch, no.
DVH. Oh, it's got a little story here. Thank God it's a little story.
Story time with James.
Dark porter type of beer brewed in Zivich as early as let's see, 1881. It owes its intense color and clear flavor to 4 types of malt. 4 types of malt. I'm glad I read that because I didn't know it. Of course, it's imported by some Amtech International, Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, 4 types of malt. I had no idea.
Okay.
Right.
Impressive stuff. I have had that before. I do like it, and I do appreciate that it is fairly economical to buy a bottle of that. It's not
Yeah, like $1.70 for this bottle, sir.
very world-class stuff in my book for that one. So, excellent. Keep sipping and tasting that one because that's what you do. You sip and you taste that beer.
You should see the food they make on the premises where I got this Zivich. Man, tons of smoked sausage. And Jay knows I've showed him the head cheese, the hog head cheese they make fresh on the premises. Including the blood version, which Jay doesn't like.
No, I don't want that. But I was eating hog's head cheese Saturday from Reserve, Louisiana.
I want to hear because William's got that interesting looking lime beer that is sadly being discontinued. No, not very sad. William Kepley, you have the floor for some. That's lime.
They're closing this out. I got a multi-pack of this for $2.99, but it also had a good date on it, December the 10th of 2018. So I said, what the heck? I tried the pineapple, never had the lime, so I thought it was sort of closing out the summer. It's still hot here, so something refreshing to balance off some of the other stuff. But one thing I noticed about this is how pale this is. This will rival the Rolling Rock probably as one of the lightest lagers in appearance I've seen. It's the extreme of the straw. It's very light. And as I drink it, I took a few sips of this. I was thinking maybe that if Alka-Seltzer ever made a beer, it probably would taste a lot like this.
I would agree with that.
That's like Polar in Venezuela. Horrible.
It has a fizzy, almost seltzer-like mouthfeel. The citrusy, the lime in this. But for what it is, it's easy to take pot shots at it. I think for the execution of it, it's not bad, really. I think the lime actually has a pretty genuine flavor. It's not overly sweet. This doesn't taste like a 7-Up or a Sprite. It's not nearly the sweetness. And there is a faint beer backbone beneath it, a light beer. And it is refreshing. So, and the price point of it, it undercut Bud Light by a wide margin. But I think it's another one of those beers that was probably miscast. The label doesn't scream light beer. It just never found a niche. I think another bad marketing effort by Miller Coors, which is seems to be like a broken record here lately. I don't think it really ever had a chance to compete in the marketplace. They just stuck it in the shelves there, and sort of like this feces. If it sticks on the wall, fine. If it's not, we'll move on to something else. Yeah. But I think it was sort of like I said, miscast. But drink this and a Bud Light lime side by side, blindfolded. I think most of the people would have a very difficult time just discerning which one, and probably wouldn't have a preference even if they did. So, but it's okay. And like I said, this will be half of my upcoming Harry Nilsson special.
Okay.
It's in a bullpen.
So it's a very it's so far it rates a very mild pack of hot sauce on the Taco Bell rating scale.
It was a 2.5. I don't have my packets with me right now. I can retrieve them pretty quickly, but I would say about a 2.5 out of 5.
Sauce rating scale from mild to volcano.
The Verde was the discontinuing, so it'd be between the Verde and the next one, which is the hot. So
okay,
2.5.
Yeah. All right. We skipped Jay there because I saw that William had a beer and he was going to town on it. Jay, give us a little insight onto your beer, your experience with it, and review of your beer this evening.
I think William was right about people ripping on that beer, and it was like a whipping boy of the beer world. And they, like we talked about that in the past, how they throw those out there to get some cheap laughs and some validation of their whatever position they're trying to project. But it was, I think, more misunderstood and misapprehended than it was actually bad. So, like you said, sort of a typical Miller Coors mismanaged item. But anyway, I don't run the company. But this one, the Lager of the Lakes, well, okay. It's one of these craft beers that costs a lot of money. But we did get it on sale. I didn't pay for it, but David Garlopy bought it. And he got this bizarrely low price of 50 cents a can, and he bought a whole case. But typically, it is $2 a can. It's sort of like a strange, almost Belgian yeast strain in it. It's got a pretty good amount of hop bitterness. But I would describe the Lager of the Lakes, which is probably usually about $24 a 12-pack, if you want to call that any kind of value. I would call Lager of the Lakes everything you always wanted in Pilsner Urquell and less. You can get Pilsner Urquell for $8.99 a 6-pack, and it beats this down without any kind of any mercy. But this is fine. But why would I buy this? Why would I buy a 6-pack of this for $12 when I could buy a much better beer for $8.99 a 6-pack? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. Bell's is a company that sort of confuses me oftentimes, not to mention Founders.
Bell's has confusing beer prices.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, the Total Wine had the Pilsner Urquell $12.99 for a 12-pack.
Oh my gosh!
So that price point, that makes the others look very unattractive.
That's a delicious price for beer.
You know, when you have that sitting out there available for $12.99, something's going to have to be pretty good to knock that off its mantle.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to know what a better Pilsner is
than
Pilsner Urquell. I've never tasted one. I've tasted some that rivaled it, like Stout O'Pramen. But to beat it, no, I never saw that. I never encountered that.
Yeah. So that does sound. It does, in general, still sound like an interesting beer. I'd like to try one day, but
yeah, it's worth trying.
One that you can. Maybe it's not one for its price point that most would repeat buy, unless maybe they're in the area there at the Great Lakes Brewery or near where it's, or they're very close to where the brewery is, where the distribution happens, so that maybe it's a little bit cheaper for them, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know. For 50 cents a can, it's one of the best values on the planet.
Pretty good.
For $2 a can, it's a terrible value. That's the way I see it.
So interesting. All right. So the beer, we'll come back to Jay for his final thoughts and ratings in a little bit. So again, the beer that I have today is the Switchback Ale from the Switchback Brewing Company out of Burlington, Vermont. It was switchbackvt.com is the website. First sold in October of 2002. It's a year-round availability. It's 5% ABV, and it's got 28 IBUs. It's unfiltered and 100% naturally carbonated.
Oh, good.
Um,
Is this sort of like a golden ale?
I believe there could. Let me pour some more into my Samuel Adams Boston Lager glass. It is, I believe most are considering this. They don't list it on the website. I believe most are considering it to be a amber ale. They say it's 5 different malts.
Yes. Okay. Amber ale. Yep. It does.
Yeah, they do say reddish. They do say using only traditional ingredients, Switchback Ale is an unfiltered reddish amber ale, which is particularly well balanced, allowing for complexity of flavor, then usually smooth and refreshing. 5 different malts, select hops, and our own specialty cultivated yeast. All right, so that's all they really tell you.
What is the ABV, Eric?
5% ABV. And the first, in my experience,
it looks pretty.
Yes,
it looks pretty strong to me.
It's strong, all right.
Definitely unfiltered.
Oh yeah, look at all that stuff.
So my history with this beer is not gigantic. However, I've had it a few times, and the first time I had it was a couple of years ago. Saw it on tap at a TGI Fridays and even recognized the tap handle, but it had to have been local, so I went for it, and it was pretty good. Reddish amber hue, definitely. 100% unfiltered, definitely.
That's a
storm, but it's doing that because of the etching in the Boston Lager glass. So that's why I love that. Very fine rim around the neck of the head of the bottle. I mean, look at that. That's kind of
that's a snow globe.
Glory,
snow globe, right.
And it's it smells. Excuse me. Good. It's toasted malt. It's that toasty bread crust and brown. I guess it's toasted white bread. There is definitely the caramel and the toffee malts. And in these kind of beers, I seem to be picking up more on what Jay likes to call almost a marmalade kind of a fruit.
Yeah. You do pick orange marmalade in a lot of beers.
There's grainy complexions, which also play well with the what did I say, with those white toasty bready malts.
Yeah, like a white bread crust.
Yeah, and there's obviously fruitiness, I said, with the marmalade. And that's kind of where the hopping is coming from. And it's got an underlining sweetness to it. It definitely smells like a old school kind of like maybe the way I understand beer back in the day from the late 90s or even the early 2000s, how you would imagine a beer on the West Coast or a beer on the East Coast to kind of smell. But
yeah,
so like more on the floral side than, so it's kind of floral combating with the marmalade, fruity aspect to it.
Yeah. Probably has a spiced white bread taste, huh?
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
Is the brewery? Is this a farm brewery or a brewery based in? I guess the States.
I'll do this one.
I think it's Vermont.
Yep, this is the Switchback Brewing Company from Burlington, Vermont.
Yeah, it's listed as a American amber red ale on the Beer Advocate.
I would agree with that taste profile.
Are you getting any nuttiness to it? Sometimes these amber red ales, you get a little bit of a nutty, like an almond.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. So that bread, that toasty bread note, caramel and toffee, that marmalade thing, and then there's the nuttiness mixed with that spicy yeast component that Jay was kind of talking about. Because it's unfiltered, I'm getting more of that spicier not phenolic, but I'm getting more of the spicy yeast notes to it, which are actually playing quite well in the bready notes to it. I'm actually liking the fact that this is unfiltered, because it really is giving the malty notes more of a bready kind of a aspect to it, if that makes sense. Because bread is yeast, and they both sort of live together in harmony when you make bread.
And sometimes it'll even have a tannic quality, like tannins, like tea leaves.
Just a little bit. I think you're all getting the gist of this beer without even having one sip of it.
Yeah, we never had.
Like using raw wild honey as opposed to filtered pasteurized.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that.
Because it's a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on in raw honey.
But even a touch of that honey sweetness in there. I'm getting I'm like I said, I'm getting primarily some citrus. It's not it's like old school kind of citrus, not juice, but it's old school kind of citrus mixed with some floral notes, and there is a little bit of a little bit of an oily complexion. It's a straight up medium bodied beer, and that citrus with some of those floral notes are the hopping to the beer. And I think it's done nicely to balance some sweetness, but it definitely has an old school kind of an approach to how they hop the beer. So I think if you like things like Killian's, you like a little bit more bitterness to it, and you like things on the maltier side, but you're really interested in some drinkability to your beers, then yeah, this Switchback Amber Ale is one for you. I've never really thought about the Switchback a couple of times that I've had it quite like this, but this is pretty good. This is a beer. This is a couple of steps up from like a Sam Adams or like a Boston Lager or something like that, where I think this has much more flavor, and you'll get used to what yeasty notes can do to a beer if you've never had one before, with a general same kind of a drinkability as a Killian's or any kind of a red ale, red lager, or Vienna kind of style lager.
Eric, how would you rate that versus the Fat Tire? That would be a very good comparison. It's 5.2%. That's 5. They're both the same style.
Yeah, I'm finding that the Switchback has this unfiltered quality, which is playing a lot of spicy, bready notes to the beer. And I'm finding that there are much more hoppier notes to the beer. So this one is just drinking much more complex than the Fat Tire, which is much more a laid back and just a sit down and chill the beer kind of beer without thinking about it.
Right. A lot of the beers at this local craft brewery by me called Brick City, it looks like it's unfiltered. Also, it has many have an appearance as the Switchback. Yeah, definitely. You know, if Jay's ever in the area, I'd love to go there with my really good camera and do a show there, because I'm only 5 minutes away. But
yeah, I'd like to do that. That'd be fun.
So we got we got some comments here from our 8 viewers. Hello, 8 viewers. Yeah, Craig Swenson is, we find out, is in New York or New Hampshire. Cheers. He says, Wildcard Wednesday. If this is too silly, just ignore me. But if everyone could quickly mention one band musician they are currently enjoying, I get a kick out of that. Hell yeah, sir. I went to see the lead singer, ex-lead singer of Pantera, Phil H. Anselmo. He's in a band called Phil H. Anselmo and the Illegals. If you like grindcore, noisecore, death metal, or even a little touch of southern rock mixed in with all of that, cool. They had a band open for them called King Parrot, which is absolutely noisy and thrashy and screamy and death metal all mixed into one, with tons and tons of high tempo going on in the music. So there's my one band, King Parrot. They're from Australia. They kicked my butt. Let's see here, William Kepley. You got any bands or musicians you're currently rocking out to?
I'm sort of stuck in the 70s pretty much. So and I'm still discovering bands in the 70s that I missed the first time, because there was such a wealth of great music, like from 1970 to 75 or late 60s. You know, sometimes I go back and sort of rediscover things that just I sort of missed. It sort of flew under the radar. Although back then you had more of a free-form album-oriented rock stations, and still there was stuff that didn't get played on the radio that was very high-quality stuff. You know, and some bands like during that frame period, even something like a Loggins and Messina. Other night I listened to that song "Angry Eyes."
Wow! All right.
I mean, a nice jam. You know, and you know, stuff like that. You know, I sort of rediscover things during those time periods. And bands like that maybe sort of, you know, because it's the way it is now, classic rock radio is constricted so much that even you only hear Zeppelin, you only hear like 3 or 4 different songs.
Right.
It's terrible that they've just tossed aside probably 90% of the classic rock. It's almost like top 40 now.
It's horrible.
I mean, in this area, I mean, I hear these songs. It's on a daily basis. They're on heavy rotation, like top 40 stations.
Yeah.
And 1 or 2 songs, you know, like it's just, and there's plenty. There's a wealth of music. Some of the newer music, you know, like one band I started listening to a little bit more lately is in the heavy stuff is the Meshuggah.
Holy crap! Yes. All right.
A musician referenced them in an article, and I started going back and listening to some of their stuff. If you like the more hardcore, intense, sort of Cookie Monster vocals, but with a heavy groove, I mean, if you like your Sabbath and Judas Priest and want to dip into something a little bit more intense, I think Meshuggah would be a good option.
Never have imagined you saying that tonight. Holy crap! Yes.
Hey Thomas, I went to the local Mexican restaurant for happy hour and some chicken enchiladas. I had Modelo Especial. Is that considered a lager?
Yes.
It is, Jay? It's a lager?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
That's your classic
Mexican lager.
the American adjunct lager. Good
Yeah, it
stuff.
wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I like that beer.
What's going on? What's going on music-wise, radio? What's something that you're listening to right now, Mr. James?
Oh, I like classic rock, some, you know, heavy. I like metal. I was listening to Motorhead today.
Hallelujah.
You know, I like a little of everything. You know, old blues music, Dixieland jazz from, you know, way back.
Wow.
I grew up in the '70s, so I was exposed to both, you know, a classic disco as well as the metal groups, and you know, let's see, I like new age type music too, some classical. You know, I started practicing my drum after a long period of absence. I used to play with these other performers, the djembe drums made of mahogany and goat skin, so I just got back
Cool.
working on that again.
You.
You know, you ever eat?
Myself, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I played at this art walk, Patterson, New Jersey, all artists and musicians. I played with this violinist, guitar,
Change some things about
and a guy that does creative mime, a friend of mine called Ken Create. He does like he uses all kinds of, you know, magical LED lights as he's performing.
Cool.
That's about it.
How about Jay? I'm sure he's listening to a lot of different things here and there. What's something that's going on musically on the speakers right now with you?
Well, it was very interesting so far. Oh, by the way, I give that Lager of the Lakes an A. An A.
Okay. But not an A+ like Pilsner Kill.
No, and then my friend David Garlipe gave Pilsner Urquell a world-class score, which to me is above an A+. As far as music, well, tomorrow I'm going to be listening to the Grateful Dead a little bit. Songs from 1970 and 71, like Playing in the Band and Truckin', which is a famous song they made.
Yes, I like that.
Down on Bourbon Street, set up like a bowling pin, knocked down, gets to growing thin. But yesterday I was listening to. Yesterday I was listening. Hear that echo also?
Yeah, I heard it.
I think we're good.
Yesterday I was listening to, you know that song, Knock Twice, Rap with Your Cane, Feels Nice, Come In From the Rain. We've got your skinny girl here at the Western World. Do do do. It's Steely Dan. I was listening to Steely Dan, Greatest Hits. And Here at the Western World was a song that was only available on that album, Greatest Hits. It was actually the original song on that album. That was from 1978.
Love Steely Dan.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was listening to, well, they had so many good songs, you know.
FM, I like.
Yeah, and Katie Lied. You know,
Deacon Blues.
yeah. Kid Charlemagne. But listen to the Greatest Hits of it. So I was listening to that, and then this afternoon somebody started baiting me on Rock and Roll Club, and I took the bait. So I said, okay. So I started listening to Stevie Nicks.
Yes. All right. Sweet.
Baited me to listen to Seven Wonders and Rooms on Fire.
Did William Shatner's thing ever go on YouTube? Remember when he did that the ridiculous CD, William Shatner, where he goes, Lucy in the sky with diamonds.
Oh, it's probably on there.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I don't want to cut Jay off, but Jay can go for days with music. If you ever want to do a musical examination, let's just do it.
I like classic rock. I do enjoy classic rock, and I do listen to a lot of these stations. Some of them, yes, the songs are repetitive, but I do enjoy listening to them.
Anything particularly that's going on that you've been listening to lately there, Jean H. Pierre?
I've been listening to a lot of different things. You know, I like a lot of jazz stuff. I've been listening to a lot of stuff from, you know, I guess with Pandora, I'm rediscovering Chicago's earlier hits, not their 80s hits, their pop stuff they were doing when David Foster joined the band, and, you know, Peter Cetera, you know, just sort of their jazz
stuff than the back.
More rock arena stuff. Lately, there's no one out there that can really I could wrap my arms around and say, hey, these guys sound really good. A lot of stuff from back then. Blue Oyster Cult, you know. I'm listening to a lot of stuff from ELO. Stuff from Manfred Mann's Earth Band, you know, Moody Blues. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. I'm way too young for all this music, but that's what I like. All right, good. Crazy. Sounds good. John Danile is a good person to ask this question to. Thank you for the question, Craig Swenson, because John Danile loves all the classics and he grew up around music. So tell us about that briefly, if people haven't heard about that, and what's going on musically on the radio or the speakers for you.
All right. Well, I like all kinds of music, listen to a lot of oldies, rock and roll. This week I've been kind of listening to a lot of Tommy James and Shondell, some Crystal Blue Persuasion, Crimson and Clover. I was listening to the Guess Who earlier, These Eyes, Share the Land, that type of stuff. And then, of course, I love, you know, Stones, AC/DC, The Doors, some of the Beatles stuff, but not too much of that. Don't really listen to a lot of the Beatles.
You know, Lucy.
I don't know. I like a little bit of everything. I was listening to some Queen too earlier. Getting, you know, I like some Queen. Mix it up, you know. But yeah, I mean, I like all kinds of stuff.
How about while we're on John and Nilly here? So he has been drinking the Samuel Adams Boston Lager, and since we'll go backwards here now. So John, where are you at with the Boston Lager? Do you have any final thoughts on Boston Lager? And as you drink it today, September 19th, 2018, what is your rating going to be today?
All right. Well, I've always enjoyed the Boston Lager. It's been a while since I've had it out of the bottle. You know, it's on draft just about everywhere. It's really good on draft. It's just a classic beer. It's a perfect balance between malts and hops. You know, it's got a lot of that roasted barley malt flavor. It's relatively light-bodied for being as complex and dark as it is with the roasted barley malt and the 30 IBUs. It is still relatively light and sessionable. I think it's an A beer. You know, it's one of the first craft beers to do something like this. There's a lot of imitators out there, but I just think it's a perfectly balanced beer. I would say it's probably a 94 out of 100 for me.
Wow.
And of course, if you haven't had the Boston Lager, get out there and try it. You know, get out from under that rock you're living under and try it.
Get to a gas station, apparently in the South, you'll find it.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts. Oh, you might. You probably would, but not every gas station. So a 94, big bold statements there. Let's see if Jean is gonna stay with us here on connection.
Guys, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on tonight. It's like I've had to shut down Google Hangouts. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, give us your score before you fail again.
Green light, score, and final thoughts.
Nothing really special about this. Again, it's a B plus beer, so I give it an 80. B plus, B, C minus, C plus, B beer, and 80, and that's what it is. So sorry about the computer issues tonight, guys. It is what it is, y'all.
Yeah.
What? A B what?
It definitely happens, yeah.
A B. I'll give Yingling Light a B. C plus B.
A B.
Score.
Okay. A B. Okay, a B.
Yeah, let's go to Craig Swenson. Hello, you're in the chat. James with the Juve EH.
There's my itch. I mean, there's a witch.
There you go.
I would give it an A plus, but you know what? This is not a summer heat wave thirst quenching fermented beverage. This is something I would drink in the fall or winter after having a big a sherry wine flavored Yankee pot roast, a heavy meat dinner. You know, it's not something that you would drink like the weather you guys are having down on the Gulf Coast. You know, it's too heavy. It's not thirst quenching. It's not something I would drink in a steam bath hot summer day. But I give it an A plus because of what it is. You know, it's as far as porters go, it's pretty heavy duty, and I would definitely have it again, which I have several times. You can't beat $1.70 for that large bottle, and get to see all the Polish girls in there flirting and everything. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, it's pretty good.
All right, I think William Kepley's got another beer that he's
right. Yeah, as I was mixing my cocktail here, I was listening to the music chat portion, and a couple of songs I like. Steely Dan's one of my very favorites.
Yeah.
Don't Take Me Alive, Bad Friday, and Reeling in the Years.
Yeah.
Three. The guitar solo by Elliot Randall on Reeling in the Years is one of the greatest guitar solos in rock history. That's Jimmy Page's favorite guitar solo that he's ever heard.
Wow. And
also the mention of Earth, the Manfred Mann, they did a cover of Blinded by the Light, a Springsteen song.
Springsteen, yep. Uh-huh.
And I thought they did a very good cover of that. And they go back all the way in the late '60s to Do Why Diddy, Diddy Dum Diddy Dum. You know, for Earth. So they have a varied history with Manfred Mann. But back to this, what I have here, I was mixing is, as I mentioned while you were talking about music, is a concoction I call the Harry Nilsson Special. It's a 50-50 mix of coconut Rita.
Oh boy.
And 2 Hats lime.
Oh.
You put the lime in the coconut and shake it all up.
Oh.
Coconut Rita.
The 50-50 mix.
I think I knew that girl, Coco Rita.
Oh yeah, it's very crazy.
Coco Robichaux.
Wow.
Actually, it's not, this adds a little bit to it. You get the lime flavor, which actually is in an actual margarita, one of the main ingredients. Plus, by doing this, you get a little bit of a light beer base underneath it, because that coconut Rita is baffling. it lists malt as the second ingredient.
Oh,
I cannot. That would be one of the questions I'd ask on a beer tour. They probably would kick me out because I would ask stuff that they want to. You know, they like to keep it light and fluffy. You know, not get into any of the details. But it baffles me how that they can list malt as a second ingredient, yet they have a lot of their ice beers and malt liquors and stuff where they list, you know, rice, corn, and/or corn, and then they put malt. So it's a baffling product, but you know, in a wild card, you know, anything goes. And I thought, you know, it's pretty tasty actually. Like I said, it adds a little bit to the lime, plus you get a little bit of the light beer, actually a little bit of a beer base to it. So it's not too bad really.
I got that song stuck in my head. Cuban Pete from the Jim Carrey movie The Mask. You know, Chick Chick.
Yeah.
No, that's
Wow.
it's Cuban Pete. Da, 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 chick, chick.
I looked on the website for that the coconut Rita. It's 281 calories for a 12-ounce serving.
Holy smokes!
So if you drink a 25-ounce can, that is 585 calories. So you're basically drinking a Big Mac or a quarter pound of cheese. So it's not for those who are, you know, watching the waistline.
Or want to drink beer.
So that's just to show how much of the fructose, how much stuff they're adding to those beverages. I think the Bud Light Rita series is basically an alcohol vehicle device for people who don't like alcohol but want the buzz.
Yeah.
They're giving it to you in a candy. Like when I first took the first sip of the Coca Rita by itself, I thought this tastes like the middle of a Mounds candy bar.
Huh.
You know, coconut sweetness, you know, but not a hint of alcohol and barely any warming alcohol as you do the sips finish. So this is for people who want the buzz, they want the effects, but they don't like alcohol.
Yeah.
And they're more than happy to deliver an alcohol delivery vehicle like this. But for me, you know, just goofing around with it, mixing it like 50-50 with a light beer, you can even mix it with a Budweiser or something. I think it actually improves it. It's more drinkable. It cuts the alcohol, cuts some of the calorie count down by 50%. So, you know, if you're ever in a sort of a shits and giggles mood, try one.
Or in a dark place.
Right, a dark place.
Coconut flavored moonshine.
Cheers to Harry Nilsson, died in 1994.
Yeah.
He was one of John Lennon's best friends.
Cheers.
Also, he made some great music.
Sounds like a porn star, Harry Nelson.
No.
Harry Reams. That was Harry Reams, I think.
Oh, whoops. Oh.
Yeah.
Harry Nilsson, also Mama Cass Elliott and Keith Moon both died in his apartment in England.
Mama Cass died from eating too many ham sandwiches.
He's from Baltimore, I believe. Cass Elliott.
Cass Elliott.
Is that the mamas and the papas in California Dreaming?
Naomi Cohen. Hey, I have even more shocking news.
R.I.P. Glenn Campbell.
I have even more shocking news. I'm about to ring the chimes.
He's always got a whiskey afterwards. Yeah.
Tavern.
Sounds like a drunken cow.
Sounds like a cowbell, you're right.
It has a very unusual bottle design, which gives it a sound not unlike chimes.
I heard Krampus might be visiting Jay Terry tomorrow.
Oh,
God willing.
Should I get to the switchback rating before we get to whiskey? Sure. I'm really liking this beer. It's not my favorite thing on the planet Earth. And this is the bottom of the bottle. I mean, look how much is
Look at.
look how much marmalade color it's got now. Almost like a rich amber honey kind of a color. It's a very, because of it being a little bit on that hoppy side, even though it's 28 IBUs, and because it's got that unfiltered yeast, yeah, even more at the end of the bottle. Because it has that unfiltered yeast component as well, it's contributing so many different bready, spicy yeasty notes to it. Caramel, toffee, malt, has that marmalade, citrusy kind of a note. It has some of those floral notes to it. The toasty bread qualities to it. I I mean, it's just a delicious beer, not one that I want all the time because I think I like more bolder, complex beers, but which isn't all the time. But if you're in New England area, I don't know if New York or New Jersey maybe would probably have this beer. I'd assume so. In my area, this bottle is $3 and change for a pint, 6 fluid ounces.
Oh, that's a great deal.
It's along the same price point as a bomber, if you will, bottle of the Wine Stefaner product. So,
Yeah, those
again,
are
as I said earlier, well, you know what? I'm going to give this at least a 90. At least a 90. So I think if you like things like Vienna lagers, amber ales in general, light lagers, and American style adjunct lagers, especially if you like Killian's, this is a gateway beer for you. And as I was drinking the beer, like I said earlier, I think that this is a really good gateway beer into lots of craftier styles. It's going to get you used to, even at 28 IBUs, some more complex notes that hops can bring without being overpowering. And it's certainly going to get you into what a unfiltered bottle conditioned beer is all about, without doing it in a way that is, how am I trying to say this? It's not doing the yeast thing in a way that is going to offend somebody, and it's not doing it in a way to be pretentious and saying, well, we're this, this most complex this most complex yeast and all of these, and this 500-year tradition over 70 times we're filtered. No, none of that. It's trying to be very inviting, and I think anybody could get into the Switchback Ale. I think it's at least an A- product by minimum standards.
okay. Thomas Metal 75.
To whiskey time, yes.
You talked about, no, I wasn't going to bring that up. I'm drinking it, but I'm not going to go into it. But although it is very good and it's $10.99 a liter, but
There you go.
Talking about gateways, I have this idea that down the road we should examine Dos Equis Ambar, because we had examined that years ago on my channel, and I just have this craving, or as they say around here, an envie for Dos Equis Ambar, the original Dos Equis from 1897.
Huh. You know what? I'm going to write that down.
Haas.
Also,
Immigrant William Haas.
Also, I have some. We'll talk off air a little bit. I have some ideas finally to do actual topics, because I did, and I'm ready to. I did buy some beer finally. I'm done with drinking most of the collection of 6-packs I had lying around, and we're ready to examine actual topics of beer.
You're like Aerosmith. You're done with mirrors.
Pretty much. You said the Ambar would be a cool one. I'll write that down as an idea. If everybody can't get that, they're not looking hard enough.
Everybody can get Dos Equis Ambar, and plus there's a locator tool on the website, so that's very convenient.
So I gotta say here, props to Craig Swenson for sticking around. You may have to join us one of these days, and that would be cool. And we still don't have today. I don't think we had our buddy Bart Robinson. That's a little shy to get on camera, but it's gonna happen one day. We had Gabriel Salaya watching. I don't know. He told me yesterday he had a special beer. It was a secret he was going to bring today. I gave him the link on both Facebook and Hangouts, and he didn't even click it. So Gabriel Salaya.
Hey, what about your friend? What's his name? Dan?
Dave.
I get confused.
Such a busy person when it comes to work and working out that he just limits himself for extracurricular things he can do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pushes himself to the limit. That's how he put it to me. But I'd certainly let our buddy Dave know that everybody keeps asking about him.
Yeah.
He knows you all want to see him. So we had Craig. Go ahead. I added him, but he can't take our constant talking back and forth all day long.
Yeah, I agree. I can understand that.
Your banter?
We had earlier, I don't know if he's still on.
Some people are members, but they don't really participate. They probably can't stand it. It goes on all day long, all day.
Those beer reviews that joined us.
Oh, Oh yeah, Flacco.
Get access to the link. I don't know if he couldn't join or what happened with him, but thank you for watching, Flacco. And early on, we had somebody say hello, spotting Oktoberfest here. That was CS 1992 from you.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
He comments on my channel quite often, and that's a great beer, the Spaten Oktoberfest beer.
He recommended that a couple of years ago that I try and no, not that I try, that I review Narragansett Lager. So I did. So I get the idea. CS 1992. I think we are just about a little over an hour into this examination of wildcard beers. I don't know if anybody here on the panel before we go off air has any final thoughts and closing things.
I do real fast.
Or Wildcard Wednesday.
Real fast. I appreciate you letting me join. I can't really stay up too late because I have a Dawn Busters tomorrow, and that goes on about 5:50 a.m. Central Time.
Cool.
But I do appreciate you considering the Dos Equis Ambar.
Definitely, that will be an easy one for us to all get.
And when you post the topics on the Beer Talk, I'll take a look at them and let you know what I think.
Cool. Excellent. I will let you know of those ideas. Anybody else before I say?
I called up the lyrics to Nielsen's Coconut song, and
Wow.
these flavored malt beverages like the Ritas are actually considered malt liquors.
Yeah.
Years ago, the Strawberry was the 20th best-selling beer in the country, actually. You know, malt, and here's a couple of lines that might. This will be relevant to people who maybe had a little bit too much of these to drink at one time with a high gravity variety. It says, "You put the lime in the coconut, you call the doctor, wake 'em up. Doctor, ain't there nothing I can take?" I said, "Doctor, to relieve this belly ache." I said, "Doctor, there ain't nothing I can take." I said, "Doctor, to relieve this belly ache." So I'm sure the belly ache for people that maybe have had a little bit too much to drink of these particular products, but I thought that was pretty relevant.
It's called heartburn from all of the sweet.
Oh, I think, Eric, before you close out,
Yeah.
you need to have it closed out with a bosun's whistle.
You want the bosun's whistle or the djembe drum? Take
Pick
your
one, Jay. He wants the whistle. He wants the whistle.
Want the whistle? All right.
He's got a whistle. Here we go, folks.
There we go. I tell you what, Thomas, your choice tonight was better than staring at a lava lamp any day. that snow globe was. I'm gonna look for that. Ahoy, matey.
And as Jean H. Beer would say at the end of every examination, "Good evening," as if we're starting over again. Good evening.
Bonsoir, bonsoir.
So let me say on behalf of wherever the hell John H. Pierre went, John Anelli, our good buddy James, our good buddy J. Terriot of Louisiana Beer Reviews, William H. Motherfreaking Kepley, hello, and Thomas Meadow 75. Keep tasting those great beers. Cheers. We'll see you soon. We actually are going to come back next week after off air here. We're going to talk about some topics, and we're going to come back with an actual theme that's not just bring your own beer, but bring a beer related to a topic. So we're going to try that again. So until next time, keep tasting all those great beers you find in your stores. If you don't know what to buy, just go.
A brief comment at the end.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to say kudos to all the people in the state of North Carolina who have rallied together to face the challenges after the Hurricane Florence. It was devastating in this state.
Oh, yeah.
And it's nice to see, you know, with all the division politically and all other topics, that people are coming together here to help those in need. I mean, this is something that it's really sobering that puts you in a place that what's really the important things in life are. It's not beer. Beer can be enjoyable, but it's not important. But to see, you know, what the devastation and then the people rally together to help those in need. I mean, there are places that look like a war zone here in the eastern part of the state. And so just thanks for all those who are helping others, and stay strong for all us Tar Heels.
How did you make out, William?
I was very fortunate. But about 2 blocks from where I live, there was flooding. Where a car got submerged in water almost completely.
Oh,
yeah. Around here, it was almost. I'm so thankful. It's almost like a bubble was placed over us.
I have a lot of.
I didn't lose power. You know, there was a lot of rain here in the county. Probably around 10 inches of rain here in Davidson County. In the eastern part of the state, it was more like 30 inches of rain. And they're still getting the effects of this because it's not over, because the rainwater drains from the central part of the state to the coast. People don't realize, so it's still flooding. The rain we got, you know, naturally, just by nature, it heads to the sea. So they're still getting flooding right now, even though the storm itself has passed away. So, like I said, I thank God. I'm really thankful that I got.
I have a lot of my classmates who I went to high school with live in the Carolinas. 2 live in Raleigh. 1 lives in Greensboro. The other lives in Charlotte. So, but yeah, some made out okay. Some may have had a power issue for maybe a week or a couple of days, but it was back on. But everybody kind of made it out okay. But but other folks it was
devastating.
More less fortunate.
Yeah.
The eastern part of the state, there's a lot of agriculture. There was 1.7 million chickens were killed. They drowned in the porterhouses. Smithfield has a big plant in the eastern part of the state. You know, you got your pork, and poultry and all that stuff. So I mean, the cost of this is astronomical when it's going to be added up.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there were a minimal amount of human casualties. So, you have to look at that too. Other things can be replaced, but like I said,
all we've had here in Massachusetts, besides some snow, was an extremely, extremely bad windstorm on the East Coast back in March that just put me out of power for a couple of days. And power lines down everywhere. Infrastructure was down a little bit, but it was not a hurricane like William describes, but it was still pretty bad and one of the worst things I've seen in a while. So I say like I understand what he's talking about, but no, I don't.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
You're right. These hurricanes are really scary. When you get off the air, I'm going to ask y'all all a question. Then I'm going to get off for the night.
All right. So we got to get
no problem.
People. So on behalf of, again, let's do this again. On behalf of John H. Pierre, John H. Pierre, and John, I know, confused me, Anilli, James J. Terrio, William H. Kepley, Flacco's Beer Reviews watching live, Gabriel Salaya that did not join us but watching live, and Craig Swenson. Dude, I like your comments. You got to join us sometime. He's from New Hampshire. I say keep tasting those great beers. Cheers. We'll see you soon. It's been a wrap. We're going to talk about some stuff. Jay's going to show us a thing off air, and I'm going to present some of these beer topic ideas for the next several weeks. So, till next time, peace.
Good night. Sorry about technical issues.
Hey, Eric, give me the